What is up, YouTube? Today we are going to start our video with a shout out to my sponsor, Dragon Shield. They sent me this big, really cool sleeve thing of and inside there's a bunch of sleeves for me, all that kind of stuff. So a huge shout out to Dragon Shield. If you guys are interested in Dragon Shield products, check out the link in my description down below. I am a person who only uses Dragon Shields and always have my entire career. 11 years of playing, and it's crazy to think that I'm now sponsored by them. I use Pink Dragon Shields exclusively, so check those out. But the new dual mats are pretty cool as well. I got a couple for testing purposes with new decks. But without further ado, today we're going to be doing a tier list. I have played very little Pokemon in this format, but I figured today would be a great day to do a tier list before we jump into the Astral Radiance format. So let's do some overreactions, underreactions, and we can come back to this at the end of the format, or even like after NAIC, and see how stupid I am because of where I think decks are going to be. Now, these are all like competitive decks or competitive archetypes already listed on this tier list. So I think there's not going to be any like really bad ones. Like we're doing tier S, 1, 2, 3, and I really want to have fun. And I think tier 3 and I really want to have fun are like probably bordering on the same tier. So there's no real reason to have both of these. It's just we're going to have more fun with this one than... actually, let's just delete this one, actually. Let's just do S1, 2, I really want to have fun. So... S is the decks that I think are your decks to beat every time going into a tournament. 1 is decks that I think can win a tournament and are still commanding a lot of presence and like need to be responded to, answered, or whatever. 2 is like their sleeper picks. If someone builds them the correct way, maybe they can win. And then I really want to have fun. It's just like, I don't know, man, what are you doing here? Like, it's probably fine. So we'll start with Hisuian and Samurott. I'm going to put Hisuian and Samurott in 2 just because I think Hisuian and Samurott from my early... thinking in my early like list building is just like this deck needs more than 60 cards to kind of keep up with everything. I think Palkia and Mew, who are the two like dogs of the format, like kings of the format, kind of command more of a presence. And I don't even think Samurott can deal with Mew as efficiently as it would like to. I think Arceus has a pretty good matchup into it as well. So I think Samurott, while being a very cool, efficient attacker, requires you to play the Inteleon engine, which then in turn just makes the rest of your like hands, deck, whatever, a little bit clunkier, and I don't like that. So in tier S, we have Palkia, our first tier S card. I think Palkia is far and away the best card coming out of this set. The hype is definitely warranted. I think that people are like, maybe it has too much hype, or maybe it doesn't, blah, blah, blah. No, it has the right amount of hype. The V-Star power is really good. The attack is really good. Radiant Greninja in the deck is really good. You get to play the Inteleon engine. You don't even have to play the Inteleon engine. Palkia can just be Palkia, and it's very, very strong because it commands a presence and a response. Hisuian and Decidueye is going in your I really want to have fun tier. I picked some up of these in person to try to see if I can make it work in some regard, but it's really, really hard to make work because not only are you capped at 270, 300 with Choice Belt, you have to discard 3 energy to make that happen. So the odds of you doing that reliably over and over again is very slim, unless you build a whole deck around like Eldegoss, Recycler, or something like that. And at that point, you're just honestly playing a funny deck than a consistent good deck. I think Dialga is going to go into 2 because I think Dialga is very good. But I think people, like, I think the V-Star power attack is really good. I think the first attack is really good. I think Dialga having Zacian and Bronzong and its back end makes it really, really strong as well. But I think that people are kind of trying to build it in weird ways still. Like, I've tried some weird things myself, but I think people have not found that deck that sticks, like that I know this is good, I know this is going to work kind of thing. So until that happens, I think Dialga stays in tier 2 until I kind of understand what's needed in the deck to make it flow better. Then we have Darkrai. I think that goes into tier 1. I think Darkrai is definitely one of those decks that you can play a lot of turbo in. You have the Galarian Moltres baby, the Galarian Moltres V, Dark Patches. Just you can trekking shoes. You can be a super aggro deck. You even play Gutsy Pickaxe if you want to draw cards. And just play like a super aggro dark deck. The problem is I think maybe your damage output doesn't ramp up fast enough because you need a lot of energy. Like you need 9 energy on board. Or I guess, yeah, 9 energy or 8 energy plus Choice Belt to one-shot a other V-Star, which is a lot of energy by turn 2, which I mean, I guess you can tenably achieve. It's just a lot of work to get there. So it still puts it in tier 1 because I think you can 2-shot things and you still have the dark package going for you. So yeah. Whimsicott goes into... I'm just going to put it in, I really want to have fun because I think more decks are now playing basic energy coming into this format. you have Darkrai, you have Palkia, you have Samurott, you have Dialga, like all these new archetypes all coming in. Basic energy. So like Whimsicott doesn't really do much. And like, I don't know, it just feels like kind of depressing when your deck does not do what it's supposed to in lockout decks. And so I think Whimsicott's like surprise factor plus meta share is kind of over, and the king is dead, unfortunately. So Ice Rider, I'm going to go ahead and put it at tier 1. I think Ice Rider gets a boost from having Radiant Howlucha. Plus 30 damage is nothing to scoff at, because that was a magic number that Ice Rider needed to hit. You're already hitting 280 with the Choice Belt, now 310 with the Howlucha, and you can play a Leon as well if you're worried about Mew, or a Temple of Sinnoh, plus a quick shooting. So you have a lot of options to play in the Ice Rider deck. You can even play a thin Palkia line, maybe even a heavy Palkia line, whatever you want to do. Give yourself the ability to play a supporter and use the V-Star Portal or Star Portal ability in the same turn, giving you a ton of time to do whatever. Tier 2 is Malamar Rapid Strike. I think the deck is still really good. I think the deck just, does what the deck is supposed to do. But the problem is people are going to play the cards like Avery and stuff like that to deal with Gigas. And so when that happens, you're going to take collateral damage. But the thing is, everything is going to be V-Stars, and maybe less people play Big Charms. So maybe if there's disrespect towards Malamar in any regard, where like decks stop playing like the Goon, the Inteleon, like that kind of stuff, Malamar could make a resurgence. I think obviously the problem is like a lot of these decks can put a lot of pressure on you early. Dialga with the V-Star attack, Palkia with the Radiant Greninja, Darkrai with just putting baby one prizers, whatever. So I'm going to go ahead and put Arceus, Malamar, Jolteon in tier 1 because I don't think it actually goes anywhere. Malamar gets better with Dark Patch. Jolteon gets better because there's a lot of Inteleon engines, and Radiant Greninja now exists as well. And then Arceus is just Arceus. And I think having an ability like Starbirth never makes you bad. I'm going to put this Dark Box Inteleon deck into tier 2. I'm assuming it's with all the counter pieces like your Zeraora and whatever. But I just think the deck has been incredibly underwhelming every time I've tried it personally. I know it's done really well and won events and stuff like that, but I think personally it's been super underwhelming for me. And I think it stays there just because like I think against good players you're going to struggle a lot of the time unless you like really, really draw well. And you never can miss a beat. And if you miss even a single beat, you lose. And the deck is like inherently more inconsistent because it's playing so many different things, trying to do so many different things. So yeah, Sylveon goes into the fun tier because I think Sylveon is just losing its typing advantage with the metal, with the fairy, or not the fairy, the psychic, because psychic isn't really a good typing anymore. You want to be grass, I think. Grass coming into the set. Grass lightning are the two that kind of pick up popularity, and then because Archie is now probably going to lose popularity, Sylveon loses popularity. So if you're going to play a Rapid Strike toolbox, you can, but I think Sylveon has to be like a thinner line than something like an Archie or some of the other Rapid Strike cards. Duraludon goes in at fun tier as well because I think Duraludon is just like, I don't know, you can wall all you want, you're just not stopping anything. Everyone's playing basic energy, everyone has shred attacks. Path to the Peak exists, it's rough. Inteleon VMAX, as sad as it to say, goes into the I want to have fun tier because, again, while nothing is one-shotting you, there are now decks that have the potential to go through the barriers to get there. Darkrai can, Dialga can, Ice Rider can now. Like, there are 3 decks that just got new tools that help them be able to one-shot you. So there's now more threats potentially for this poor lizard, and unfortunately we can't out-heal, outlast, or outplay here. This is not Survivor. Mew goes into S tier. I think it's probably the only other deck that goes into S tier because Mew is still a king of the format. I think Mew still commands a lot of respect. With Palkia being the dual split threat in the S tier for it now, maybe decks don't play as much Dark Package. Maybe decks don't play as much Path. Maybe decks play Lightning Energy stuff to deal with Palkia over Dark Energy stuff to deal with Mew. And you start picking and choosing which battle do I want to win. And at that point, why are you not just playing Palkia or Mew, who are the 2 best decks in the format, and refining that list to the ground? Gengar is tier 2. I think Gengar is still probably really good. Dark typing is fine. I think Fear and Panic is strong. Gmax Swallow still hits pretty magical numbers, 250 Choice Band, 280. You can still play like a version like Drew Bennekenek did early in the format. Or you could play like, I don't know, just a single strike version would be fine. So Gengar is interesting. It hits good numbers. Arceus plus Beep goes into tier 1. I think Arceus Beep, any friend, is probably fine. I think it simply is a formula that has worked. You just don't play Inteleon engine because Palkia now preys on your engine if you play Inteleon. So very cool to have Arceus still be good. Tier 2 is the Urshifu Moltres deck. Urshifu Moltres is very, very strong, but I think that you lose a lot of what gave you like good matchups. Like Mew and Arceus were two good matchups, and now you have all these new things to factor in. And I don't think Palkia necessarily is a good matchup. I feel like that's probably a really hard matchup, in all honesty. And then like less Arceus will be played as well, I think, because Palkia is very good into Arceus. So yeah. And then going into S tier as well as Zorobox. I'm kidding. It's in the Just Have Fun tier because I think that Zorobox Wormadam, while being as strong as it is an inherently inconsistent pile. And on that thought process, it just, loses to Palkia as well, so it's just annoying. I'm going to go ahead and put Blissey Miltank in tier 2. While it's a fun deck, I think every deck has some sort of an answer to it, and good players will find their way to maneuver around this Miltank ability. We have Arceus and Teleon Melanie, I'm assuming, is probably what we're looking at here. That goes into tier 1. I'm going to put all the Arceus variants into tier 1 because that's like literally what my philosophy is going to be. All the Arceus tiers, as long as you have Starbirth, you're going into tier 1. All of these are competitive archetypes already. It's not like we're playing Arceus like, I don't know. No, even Arceus Fire, like even Arceus Charizard VMAX or V-Star or whatever goes into tier 1 for me. Like these are all tier 1 decks because they can do so much with just Starbirth existing. And then like all their partners don't even really matter. Like Arceus by itself is still very, very strong. You still accelerate their energy. You do what you need to do. Now Machamp, I think, actually can go into tier 2. I think the attack is not that difficult to use. I think Gapejaw Bog is a very cool stadium. I think there's a lot going for it. It's just that, like, can we actually make it work while being a 3-prizer? So, yeah. Lilligant, I think, is in the fun tier because I think at the end of the day, Grass is still pretty weak. The V-Star power is pretty weak. And 230 damage is not, like, the most optimal number to hit. Like, you can get to 260 with Choice Belt, but there's no real mods on top of that besides Leon. So, that is my early tier list for Astral Radiance. I want to see if I'm right. I want to see if I'm wrong. What do you guys think? Down in the comments below. And remember, have a great day, guys. Have a great Friday, and we'll come back and hit the ground running tomorrow.